Good evening, folks. Here is another video about a little project I've got on the go with the Enfield Interceptor 650. Basically, it's the shock absorbers at the back of the bike. Now, I know people replace them, and I think I'm beginning to see why, because I don't know, I mean, maybe people could post here and put some comments, but I've noticed I'm getting a clonking sound, you know, a bit of a clonk coming from somewhere. And I suspect that these are not the world's most expensive, decent shock absorbers on an inexpensive bike. So I'm going to replace them tomorrow when the new ones arrive. And I'm going to post about the ones I've bought. They are not YSS and they're not 600 quid. However, I'll post the details later on in this video. And what I will be doing is doing a destruction of these shockers. I'm going to take them off and I'm going to dismantle one of them, because I want to find out just what it is about these that's, I suspect, making that noise. And also, I'm very curious to know if this actually does anything. I'm very, very curious. Because underneath it, all I can see is a metal plate with a little hole in it. Just there. To me, I wonder if the entire cylinder is just decorative. Seriously. And therefore, that bit, you know, wouldn't do anything. I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to destroy them controlledly and then do an autopsy as to what's in them. This bike is about 2 and a bit years old, and already that collar there looks like a right mess, doesn't it? Well, that's horrible. Really bad on a bike of this age. And as for this thing, I really don't know what's in there. Now, these shockers are valueless, in my opinion. You see them all over eBay where Interceptor owners take them off and then unsuccessfully try to sell them on eBay at daft prices. In my opinion, they're unsellable because nobody wants them. A bit like the exhaust systems, really. Most people get rid of them. And I see them on eBay all the time. Exhaust systems at 100 quid, 250 quid, no chance. They've taken them off to put cams on and then hope to get something back for those. There are very few people I've noticed that want the standard silencers. I personally do, because I like them and I'm watching out for a pair. And pipes. I want the header pipes like that. I want the cat in them. I want to leave them standard, actually. I had an XJR 1300 and I put single skinned header pipes on, which I had ceramic coated in black, and they're a lot noisier. There's a lot more noise comes off single skin pipes. Plus they of course blue if they are stainless steel. So I'll buy a system if anybody's got them. Obviously not at daft money because they're not worth much. Because I think I'm the only person in the entire of the UK that wants one. So these are going to come, I'm going to take them off. I'm not going to try and sell them. I'm going to destroy them controlledly without hopefully killing myself. I'm going to use a spring compressor, get that spring off. I'll notice it's a progressive spring, you know, it should be, but I'm sure there's a clonking. I don't know whether it's the centre stand bouncing up and down when you go over a bump. If anybody knows, please do post a response if you've suffered anything similar. I have read somewhere else that somebody said that their shockers were making a noise at the back. So I don't like them anyway. And I don't think, to be honest, I don't think they look much good. They're a bit chunky, they're a bit crude looking. I certainly don't like that. I mean, that's horrible, it really is. And as for this thing here, I would love to know. I'm going to get a grinder on that and I'm going to cut it off. So, there you have it. Both sides, I believe, are equally as bad. There's my little gear indicator, look, with the much maligned plaggy thing holding it on for now. Don't worry, I'm going to get rid of it. And this one, not as bad as the other one. I've even heard that when people take them off, they're different lengths. So I'm going to take them off and I shall post this. There's going to be one long video made of segments because of my impressive new editing skills. Yeah, stitching together videos with iMovie. And there will be a follow-up on this paint job. These are the Mark 1 paint on the side panels, and I haven't got the seat cowl on yet, but that is on its way. So I'm going to remove these now. Okay, that's the shockers off. 5-minute job. I've read about people replacing the shocks and they have to get rid of this stuff. There's some kind of resin, some sort of resin or something on there. It's not bare metal, some kind of paint. It's on both of them. It's on this side as well, right there. So time will tell. The new shockers are coming tomorrow. We'll have a grand unveiling of those for people to scoff at, I'm sure, because they're not YSS. However, I suspect that anything is going to be better than these, because, you know, that's the left-hand one. And that's the right-hand one. Not nice. Not nice at all. Good God. So, I don't know what this hole's all about. I might shove a screwdriver in it. I'm going to destroy them, everyone, and then we're going to have an autopsy and see. So at the moment, that's how far we've reached. I suspect I'm going to have to remove that. It's like a sort of resin. It's a sort of resinous substance. Interesting. Never seen that before. We'll see when the new ones arrive. These are, I would say, yeah, I'd say they're the same length. As you can see, I'm working in my solar lit garage. Brilliant, just love it. And over here, there's my charge controller. Panel lights off at the moment because it's dark outside. So as usual, I'm posting videos later on at night. So these are going. And later there will be an autopsy of the corpse. Okay, here's the new shocks which have just arrived. TEC. And they are here. So we've got a few instructions on how to adjust them. Okay, so these are they. Now, unlike the Enfield ones, at least there's a valve in there. It's a Schrader car type valve that obviously does something. So the little piggyback doodah does something. Wow, they look nice to me. They've got adjustable damping and you can alter the length of them. I'll put a link to where I got them from. You can get them silver bodied with black powder coated springs, or you can get entirely black. I decided to go for these because on a retro looking bike like the Enfield, I think it's, you know, you on older bikes you always saw the springs, didn't you? They're progressive springs. Looks good, finish is nice. It's got adjustable top there. Adjustable damping at the bottom. And you can alter the length by adjusting that bottom. Let's put it somewhere where we can see it. That bottom nut, I believe. You undo that. So I'm going to see if these fit onto the bike. At least that's got something in it. Now, I know that this will be possibly, you know, a slightly contentious issue. And as I think is clear from my previous videos, you know, I'm not about knocking other people. I'm not about saying I know everything either. I'm just saying what I do. Oh, there's some little adjusters, look. Ooh, for altering the length. Yeah, so that probably fits onto here, I'd have thought. That will screw into there, and that will screw into here. Interesting. Now, as I said, I don't want to be contentious. I don't want to be in any way gladiatorial about anything to do with anything, quite frankly. There's too much of that goes on YouTube, where people take things very personally. These shockers, as you'll see when you check the link, are 160 quid. They are not YSS, you know. I looked at all sorts of different shock absorbers to replace those manky ones that are on the bike. And, you know, to me, my own personal view is the Enfield Interceptor 650 is 47 brake horsepower. It's got a claim top speed of 108 miles an hour. So the original shockers are shocking, forgive the pun. So they need replacing, and they look awful, the originals. And I personally don't see the point in spending 600 quid plus on shock absorbers for a 47 brake horsepower bike that does 108 miles an hour. I just don't. That is my own view. You know, the Enfield Interceptor is what, 6,200 quid brand new. So you're looking at 10% of the purchase cost of the bike on a pair of rear shocks. To me, they're unnecessary. I think they're over spec, the very, very expensive ones. No doubt people will disagree, and you're more than welcome to. But as I've said before on everything I've posted, it's just a question of, you know, people doing different things. And if people want to put 600 quid shocks on, brilliant. And I'm sure they are better in many ways, you know, in terms of adjustability or whatever. But I've gone for these at 160 quid. Now my initial view is they've got the valve, so that does something. They're very adjustable there. They're very adjustable here. And they're pretty well finished off. They're a darn sight nicer than the Enfield ones. In fact, let's go and compare them. Come for a little walk past my wheelbarrow. Here we are. I put it round here actually, ready for execution. So there's your Enfield one. And there is the new one. See if I can put them side by side. Yeah. The cylinder on the new one is a lot smaller. The reach is identical at the moment. I don't think I'll be putting the adjusters on. So, you know, there it is. I'm going to fit them. So the next part of this video will be these actually on the bike. My first thoughts are they're a darn sight nicer than the ones that are on the bike. And they do look nice. So I'll put a link as usual. I read the reviews on the TEC website. They look genuine. There's people putting photos of them on their bikes and commenting on what they adjusted them and how they did it. I've no reason to believe the reviews are fake. So next shot will be these on the bike. There we are, that's the shockers on. I like them. To be honest, I think they suit the bike better than black springs. You know, if we're trying to look like a retro bike, I don't think powder coated black springs were necessarily in when the Enfields were floating about. However, again, you know, and I would stress this, it's just a matter of personal taste. I am not saying my taste is your taste or the taste that the rest of the world should follow. So, you know, it's purely subjective. I personally like that look. I like the springs being visible because I've got rid of, obviously, the brassy coloured cylinder that's on the original shockers, so it'll be possibly a bit of a dark back end. Of course, I've got my pannier rails, but I like the look. I do, actually. And just a few little words, if you're thinking of doing this, I'll put a link to the shockers, as I've said. The first thing is, once you've removed the two original ones and dropped the back end, when you come to put it back together, do this one. So you really want to be doing this one here first. So I've used Allen bolts. I don't know if you can see them. There, look, and I've not tightened it up yet. So you put that one in loosely first, because otherwise you've got to take your silencer off if you've got original cans. I don't know about aftermarket cans, but so that there now is ready for tightening up. And what I would use, I'm going to use obviously an Allen key that's got the rounded end, a little ball on the end, and that permits the tightening of this here without having to move the silencer. You get a ring spanner, a small ring spanner on the end of that, and it will turn enough to get that in. Okay, so you get that one in first, and then you raise the back end and you can pull this out just enough to get it over the stub that the top of the shocker sits on. Now, one word is the resinous stuff that I showed earlier does not need to be removed. It's an absolutely perfect fit. If this top end won't go on, it's because it's at an angle, and it will be even with this bottom connection, the bottom bolt being loose. It's going to be at an angle. When it's off the bike, you can slot it straight on, straight off, absolutely fine. It's when it's at a slight angle. What I did, I just used a wooden mallet and gave it a bit of a whack, and on it went. Because otherwise it's tricky to put the top end on first and try to get the bottom bolt lined up. So I just gave it a little gentle tap, rubber mallet, wooden mallet, and on it went, dead simple. So I did that one down there first, loosely, then that one. Then you can fit this side. Now, this one, you've got to put the bottom one in first, because your brake pipe, can you see the brake pipe here? That goes under, the braided hose goes under the shocker mount. So be careful that you don't crush it or do any form of damage when you get this one in. Again, loosely, pull it out a bit. Just move that. Pull it out a bit, and it'll tap on. These have got a bush, the new shockers have a bush inside and that slides in and out quite easily, and I just gave them a tap. But you leave that resin on, and if it's tricky, it's because it's not fully lined up, but it will go on. Just give it a bit of a whack. And I've just got that one more to tighten up at the bottom, the last one there, and as I say, I use a ball-ended Allen key, and then get a ring spanner on one end of it. What you can do, I've actually got a bunch of Allen keys where I've sawn them off, so you can get a nice little short one in. I've got one somewhere. So you can get it going with this ball end, and then, you know, adapt one of these. Most of my spanners and my Allen keys come from Lidl, believe it or not, and I've had them years, and they're absolutely great. they have some fantastic tools. I really do think so. I wouldn't disparage those tools because I've had some really good ones for years. And, you know, and they're cheap. So you can saw a piece off one and not really care. It's not like you're doing it with a snap-on. So, there it is. Now, I'm not going to put anything about performance because that's all very subjective. It depends how heavy you are. You know, I'm 80 kilograms. These are adjustable, dead easy, look. I've got a lock nut on them. You can alter the length, as I said before, by those adapters, which I'm not going to put on. They went straight on, out of the box. They're exactly the same length as original. And that's what I'm going to leave it. And if I have to tweak the ride, you know, alter the damping. I've read the reviews on the TEC website, what people have done. So I won't post on that because it's a very subjective thing and I'm no expert on it. The niceties of high-speed suspension are beyond me. All I know is this is a 47 brake horsepower bike that I normally drive at about 65 miles an hour. So I'm sure that they will be an improvement. I think they look nice. And there it is. Links in the description below. I ordered them and they turned up 2 days later by fully tracked DPD. So again, my usual disclaimer, you know, for those people who are happy and who can spend 600 quid plus on YSS shockers, you know, more power to your elbow, good, you know. I personally didn't want to do that. So, more power to my elbows. We're all doing what we like doing, aren't we? We're all doing what we're happy with. So, as I said before, I'm not in any way disparaging anybody that wants to pay, you know, I saw some at 1,000 quid. Good, if you want to do it and you're happy with it, brilliant. That's what I say. For me, I wanted to get rid of those shockers, the originals. I think they're ugly. And I wanted something that's not going to cost, you know, a huge amount of cash, that will do the job. The originals weren't doing the job because they're clonking. I'm going to find out what that clonk is. And if anybody's got any ideas, it might be the centre stand, but I have read that it's from the original shockers. So there you go, project done. That's the appearance. They're well made, I would say. They look nice. At least they've got a Schrader valve underneath that there that actually does something, which I shall find out from the instructions. Fully adjustable, extendable. I think for 160 quid, I think that's good. And I wanted the little piggyback bit. And I think the rear end doesn't look quite as bare with, you know, having the chrome springs. That's my own view. So that's the end of that little project. Easily done. Lots of people have done it. There is an alternative. Those TEC shockers, straight on. All the bolts fit, everything's the right diameter, straight on. Right length, the lot. Individual tweaking will come later. I hope that's of use to some people. I suspect that these shockers will last longer than the 2 years that the original ones have without looking, you know, really corroded and unattractive. And I hope that helps people as usual. The next video I'm going to do will be an autopsy on the original shockers. So watch out for that. I'm going to take them apart. I can't find my valve spring compressor, so I might just take my life in my hands and use a grinder on the spring. There's not much tension in them anyway when they're fully undone. So watch out for that one. And in the meantime, as usual, and I sincerely mean it to everybody that's watching these videos, I really do. Ride safe. Take care. Be careful. And watch out for the next video. See you later.